Last year, it's true, we presented here a new smart specialization, a new generation of smart specialization. We have to understand this European wave of regional strategies as a facilitating tool for interregional collaboration. It's nothing more and nothing less than that. The strategy facilitates the collaboration amongst the partners that sit around this table. Today I have advantage from you. I did not have my lunch because I had another meeting on web, so I can jump here and keep you warmed and awakened. I will just briefly go into what was said last year. We presented new priorities of smart specialization, and we argued why we could have put circular economy and twin transition in the center of the Slovene sustainable smart specialization strategy. We added one S. You know that Slovenia was the first region that invented S4 instead of S3 because of its Slovene smart specialization strategy. And now we added the fifth S for sustainable. And we have empirical reasons to do so. We have comparative advantages in European and global sense. You have heard of some of the comparative advantages during the yesterday's and morning session. I think that what was said last year was substantiated during yesterday and today's session, and what we see on posters. There is much of the comparative strength in Slovenia for both technologies and business models around that. Last year I also did put particular attention on the regulatory part. The regulatory part, the standardization, we are facing a revolutionary changes after the Green Deal was adopted, and with the horizon of digital passport coming into practice, and which will affect all production lines by the end of this decade. By the end of this decade, all product areas will need to gradually implement digital passport, depending on the branch, of course. We have heard some of the indication on the need for continuous adaptation of regulatory environment this morning when we had a speaker on CCS. There is much room for improvement. A gap in CCS adoption, for example, was expressed this morning. So there is much to be done yet again. Then the whole concept of deep tech that was presented last year is an issue which is burning. What we have on stake is that calls for proposals are following the line of deep tech. This affects particularly the circular economy, since the definitions of deep tech gravitate around of clear social environmental impact of the implementation of high tech, and I will address this in continuation. And last but not least, last year we talked in length of the role of strategic partnerships, of how we get organized to implement deep technology innovation and transform our industries. The collaboration within clusters is key for both the offering support for transformation of our industries and interregional collaboration. But this all was a topic of last year's presentation. What I intend to do today is to bring some news. This is the infographics of our smart specialization. For those of you who don't know, the 10 priority areas. We are very strong in key enabling technologies, both in manufacturing and Industry 5.0, in digital technologies and in circular. Since digital technologies and manufacturing and green manufacturing are understood as vehicles for green transition and transition to circular economy, we did put the key enabling technologies in the center of gravity of our smart specialization. being suffused into and actually saturated in all the priority areas, from agriculture to tourism. But this is all information that you, as partners of Slovenian partners, can access on our websites. And Nina, as a manager of the strategic cluster for circular economy in Slovenia, is promptly providing you with information on novelties. So what I want to talk and focus on today is what's new. What's new in Slovenia and what's new in EU. As you see, I will report concerning Slovenia on selection criteria for projects and for reprogramming, about the reprogramming of the operational program of cohesion policy. I'm coming from the Ministry for Cohesion and Regional Development. We are in charge of operational program for Slovenia and for Interreg, for the facility points of cross-border cooperation. And on the European level, as Nina mentioned, I will speak about new STEP regulation and implications on the cohesion policy. So, domestic news concerning the smart specialization, we recently adopted a new set of criteria for selection of operations. As you know, it's monitoring committee in partnership with European Commission and stakeholders that needs to discuss and adopt the set of criteria which are then implemented in the calls for proposals. And as you see here on the slide, I did summarize only some of the criteria which are new from the new European Bauhaus for the construction areas that were discussed a lot today in the morning during the panels, to sustainability criteria and directly implications of projects for a circular economy. So I think that we deepened and precised the criteria substantially to gear the cohesion envelope of Slovenia towards green transition in all areas. So what you see here is just a summary. There is a comprehensive set of explanations for particular criteria. So our stakeholders are well on board in understanding that cohesion envelope is primarily meant for transformation of our industries towards dual transition, green and digital. I am also announcing today, I think that this is for the first time publicly, that we are reprogramming the envelope. You know that we were not happy with allocation for research and development after the envelope was approved by the government at the beginning of this financial perspective. The governments were phasing out, and we were under pressure to adopt the set of programming documents, including the smart specialization. And so there was not enough time to clearly prioritize research and development. But now, with the STEP regulation coming into power this year in May, we are using this opportunity with our stakeholders to reprogram and raise the level of visibility and funding for research and development in priority areas of STEP. So this is in short news from Slovenian part. So we are preparing at our ministry a proposal for the government for reprogramming, which will bring additional money for research and development, complementing the European STEP platform. And I will say some words. How many of you know details about STEP regulation? Can you? So so Dragica, I saw your hand. So, since you were the only one, we can tell the name of the hand, of the owner of the hand. So it makes sense then to briefly summarize STEP. So this is pretty much what you will hear in the next few minutes. So concerning the I have to put my glasses on. Sorry. Concerning the deep tech innovation, those of you who have been applying to either Horizon or other instruments evaluated centrally have noticed a couple of major changes. One deals with deep tech. You must have come across different definitions of deep tech. But this one that I did put on the slide is from some of the June Horizon calls and shows the indication. Deep tech is a combination of high tech to deeply address the roots of the key problems of society, be it environmental, be it economy transformation or whatever. So address it in the root of the problem and combine high-tech solutions to resolve the problem. Digital twin supporting different processes with blockchain technologies, for example, is just one of the frames that is addressing, for example, the complex question of life cycle analysis. And that's where we talk about, for example, in the circular field about deep tech innovation, particularly in life cycle assessment, where we deal with complexity of global value chains. Such combinations of deep tech, of high tech solutions come in implementation as we speak. But this is the most recent definition of deep tech. Many instruments now are steered toward deep tech and depend on deep tech, and they gravitate into new language coding European collaboration around innovation valleys. You have seen in Horizon calls that several calls are leading to labels of innovation valleys. In our case, we had hydrogen communities establishing innovation valleys, also in wood processing, etc. So innovation valleys is a label now that is coming into question when you talk about hashtag integration of best players on European level. So we are slowly adopting a new language with which the processing of evaluation of project proposals is being underdone. Huh? But now with the STEP regulation, which was adopted last year and it came into force in May, there is a major change in managing European innovation funds. Huh? What the STEP regulation brings into is a seal of sovereignty, which I will talk about it a little later. And it's interesting that the coordination of STEP platform, which is online, you see the link. The STEP platform is now online. The acronym of STEP is Strategic Technologies for Europe platform. Huh? The platform is on now. It's live. It's managed by DG Budget. Huh? The coordination of STEP is DG Budget, which is appropriate since the regulation is interfering into several other regulations, amongst others in state aid regulation. Huh? Because some amendments in state aid exemptions have been made by this regulation, particularly when it comes to big companies and advance payments and stuff like that. So it's the right position. But in Slovenia, all member states and regions needed to appoint a facility point or a national contact point, NCP, for STEP regulation. which then is a national interlocutor to DG Budget task force for for implementation of STEP regulation. Please do have a look, those of you who didn't, on the STEP platform website, because it brings very interested information about funding possibilities, about seal of sovereignty, and about regions that are programming STEP access in their operational programs, and who are having dedicated calls for proposals for STEP sectors. Which are the STEP sectors? You see them, these are 3 STEP content sectors. 1, digital plus deep tech. 2, green tech, including energy, clean energy, solutions and renewables, and 3rd, biotech. These are all issues that have been covered today and yesterday. What the regulation also brings is a possibility for member states to quickly reprogram their operational programs for the perspective 2001-2007. And as I said, Slovenia is making a decision right now, maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks, that we will reprogram operational program. The regulation offers a possibility for member states to have a new axis in policy objective 1. This is axis 6, which will be titled STEP axis for the projects which fall into these 3 baskets, and into policy objective 2 green as an axis number 9 for energy projects and clean energy projects and others. What is not what is eligible is, of course, research development in innovation. Large companies can be funded, which is good, and advance payment is possible for member states and regions to facilitate and speed up the process. All arrangements made under STEP are to speed up the innovation process and demonstration projects which are ready to go, which means above TRL 8, because in this way complement the, as we heard this morning, the measures taken by China and US in the basket of taxes and facilitation of innovation in these 3 strategic areas. So another novelty that you will see well reported on the STEP platform portal is the seal of sovereignty. The list of calls from different envelopes of European Union are listed on the website, so including Defense Fund and Innovation Fund, and of course the Horizon Fund. All calls that lead to seal of sovereignty are listed. And what member states can do is they can open an envelope within their operational programs to co-finance directly the projects that are above threshold under those calls, receive a seal of sovereignty, and could not be funded because of the funding threshold. So all projects that were excellent can be funded directly then. Of course, if all member states agree that their consortia members can be funded from their either domestic or regional development funds. So this is all meant to facilitate the speed of funding for projects that are evaluated positively under centralized evaluation machinery, right? Is it clear? This would maybe facilitate the interregional collaboration, and it's a new task for project managements to assure that their regional governments will reserve money for quick funding without any evaluation, but just political decision that projects evaluated positively.
Do we already have this mechanism also in Slovenia?
I just said that we are proposing this to the government in next couple of weeks. Only as far as I have seen on the platform 3 days ago, only two regions, countries, Germany and Holland, some regions, have adopted already the changes in operational programs for eligible regions. So it's a new regulation. It came into force in May. So, but my minister is firmly advocating this the STEP regulation, and his personal decision is to go for it. We just harvested in my unit for smart specialization coordination. We harvested proposals on the from our stakeholders on the ground. We did ask all members of strategic partnerships to send us their estimations of projects which would fit STEP sectors, meaning digital, deep tech, green, and biotech. Until today, we did harvest needs for roughly 220 million euros. We have approximately half of those projects would fit digital and deep tech, around then 1/5 in biotech and others in green basket. So this is pretty much the scale of what we have on the table. For the reprogramming, of course, we will have to take money from somewhere where the absorption is not that optimistic as was planned a couple of years ago. So, but this must be a political decision of the government and line ministries, that we go with that wave of strategic technologies in Europe and enable partnerships that sit around this fora to quickly promote their projects. So I'm quite positive that with the strong determination of my minister and line ministries, the reprogramming will go quickly. But as you know, monitoring committee and stakeholders dialogue must approve all this. So it doesn't go fast. Huh? So on European level, aside from any question on STEP, we can also take it afterwards. But that's a novelty that substantially increases options for interregional collaboration, huh? And we have to all keep it in mind. Nina, it's good that you just arrived in the right moment. Did you resolve the question with the transport?
I did. Yes, thanks God.
So I just explained the novelty of STEP
Uh-huh.
and actually new task of strategic partnerships to identify projects. We will most probably, if the decision of the government in next 2 weeks is that we are reprogramming, we will send another round of inquiry to you to really have a credible data on absorption capacity of the ready-to-go projects on the ground. This was a preliminary. We don't know all consortium members. We could not calculate the amount of money that will be needed for these projects, considering the state aid and the co-financing necessary from the business sector. So we have some questions still. But if the government decides that we go for it in the next 2 weeks, then we will send you another questionnaire.
Okay.
With more details concerning projects from biotech to green and.
And is there a possibility that the government decides not to reprogram?
I'm not the right person.
Of course, as usual.
It will be a cabinet of ministers,
Okay.
and it's all. It means some reshuffling of the money from existing envelopes, which is always problematic. But another news from European Union, European Commission. I don't know if you happened to notice that smart specialization is not anymore a domain of Joint Research Center in Sevilla, but is managed directly from the DG Regio and the Commission. And we need to read that as a political decision to strengthen the importance of this exercise. This exercise meaning smart specialization strategies in all regions. The importance and the visibility of the mapping of regional competencies, to say it in other words than smart specialization, the importance of mapping the priorities based on strengths of regions is now higher. The centralized financial instruments are already following this political line of prioritization, and we all need to think about further prioritizing where the investments shall go. There was a very good exercise provided jointly by Committee of Regions and European Commission via Joint Research Center last year, Partnership for Regional Innovation. I mentioned that last year. Please look at the PERA playbook, which brings a lot of, it's regularly updated. That's why I did put that link, because the Partnership for Regional Innovation is regularly being updated with best practices. I will just tell you one best practice that we are using right now. Those of you who mentioned, who noticed, we just published at my ministry, in my unit, a call for digital entrepreneurial discovery process. So we will use some artificial intelligence tools to harvest reports from all publicly funded research and development projects, centralized and cohesion and domestic. No? So all open data on projects that have been funded will be digested, and then some reasonable contribution to what you are doing within strategic partnership, meaning entrepreneurial discovery process, will be made available. So we will accomplish this task by the end of the year, and it was directly inspired from this community of practice, PRI, where we identified best practices in some European regions on how to organize data and data intelligence around the general idea of this evidence-based strategy called smart specialization, which is 100% evidence-based. There is no wishful thinking, otherwise the money of the investments is, of course, automatically lost. So the Joint Research Center and all the thematic platforms and all those exercises are now under S3 community of practice. And last but not least, what I want to talk about is money. I'm glad to say that the Interregional Innovation Instrument, which was launched just before last year's conference, in 2002 there were first calls. Now we already are on the edge of 350 million being spent. So each year there is an envelope which is directly meant to fill the investment gap of partners that sit in this room for the projects that were discussed in the morning and are displayed on the poster. So first demonstrations, pilots, as a result of interregional cooperation in the fields of green, digital, and manufacturing. So this is it from my side. The news, the trend is clear. The focus is on investments into tangible interregional projects. So speed up and facilitate interregional cooperation in investing in feasible projects.
Great.
Thank you.